morning, everyone. This is Sue Reynolds, the Executive Director of the American Student Achievement Institute. I'm very happy to be once again with schools that are renewing their Redesigning School Counseling. And this month we're talking about root causes. Today's agenda is similar to agendas that we've had in the past. We'll begin with a review. Then we'll focus on root causes. We'll do a walkthrough of meeting 4 with your advisory council. We'll look at tasks that can be completed after meeting 4 and then the rubric items for those tasks. And then we'll go into the online system to just make sure you understand where the manual items are for meeting 4 and then where the process page section is for meeting 4. So quick review, just beginning again with RSC Beliefs. School counseling programs help students make sound choices, and really all of our work last month with goals and this past month with priority goals have been goals centered around helping kids make sound choices. So this is our RSC School Counseling Impact Pyramid, and basically the belief is that when students are involved with targeted guidance and counseling activities, that they tend to then make key choices in targeted areas, and because of those choices, achievement goes up. And then working the other way, when we're designing our school counseling program this year, we started out with the achievement goals. Then we said, okay, what are the choices that kids need to make in order to reach our school's achievement goals? And then we looked at a subset of those choices, our priority choices, that we really want to focus on helping kids make well. Then next month we'll start talking about, and this month, we'll start talking about why aren't kids making those key choices, and then what activities do we have to put in place to address the causes, the reasons that kids aren't making those key choices. So in terms of the process, we started out in the beginning just getting ready. We put together your steering team. We collected data. This was last spring. Did self-studies, put together your advisory council. Then in August, we redesigned and rewrote, if necessary, your vision statement. In September, you defined your program goals. You updated your program goals, the choices that you wanted all kids to make. And those program goals, depending on how many grades you have in your school, there could have been 60, 70 different choices that you wanted kids to make while they are enrolled in your school. Then we looked at expanding resources, and then we said, okay, given how much time and energy we have, what are our priority goals? And some of you decided you had enough time and energy to tackle 1 goal. Some of you are saying that you want to have 3 priority goals. But the number is small because we're committing to our community, to ourselves, to our students. We're making a commitment that we're going to do whatever it takes to help kids make those priority choices, those key choices. So that's where we're coming into today's meeting with. We have those priority goals identified. Then today we're going to look at why aren't kids making those targeted choices? Do they not have knowledge? Do they have personal or social issues that are getting in the way? Do they know what to do, but we're not giving them the opportunity to do it? So today we're going to look at a whole other set of data to help us understand why kids aren't making those key targeted choices. Once we know the whys, then in December we'll start designing activities to address the whys. So if we know that kids don't have knowledge, then we'll provide activities to help kids learn what they need to learn. If it's that they have the knowledge but we're not giving them the opportunities, then we'll put the opportunities in place. If it's social personal issues, then we'll put social personal interventions in place. So in next month in December, once we know the whys, we'll be talking about what are we going to do about it, what activities will we put in place next year. And then second semester, we'll do the preparation for those activities. So we'll be writing lesson plans, developing calendars, our calendars, a budget, that type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to pause here real quickly. Let me look, see if any hands are up. If so, we'll unmute people and get quick questions. Okay, not seeing any questions on the review. So we've gone through this many times before, so that's not surprising. Okay, so this month we're getting ready for Advisory Council Meeting 4, and at that meeting we're talking about root causes. So in this meeting there is a pre-meeting mailing that I wanted to go over, and actually it's an email that we're going to send to folks. The email is pretty cool because all you're going to have to do is push a button, and the computer will automatically send that email to everybody on your advisory council. So I wanted to show you what the email is going to look like that we send out to people before your meeting. So part one of the email is just introducing what are root causes, and then it's reminding people that here are our priority goals. Our online system will automatically pull your priority goals and put them into the email, so they will appear there. And then we're going on to say that students may not be making these choices because they lack knowledge or have a personal or social issue, or we haven't given them the opportunity to do that. And then we're going on to explain the last two lines there. To save time at our next meeting, please complete the steps listed in the instructions below. And then thank you. We look forward to seeing you. So here's the next part of the email. In this part of the email, we're saying that the root cause data is at the bottom of the email. And so what we want folks to do in step one is to open each of the reports, and there will be links to those reports. So sitting in their living rooms, your advisory council members are going to open those reports, and we're reminding them that there's no individual student information in these reports, but some of the survey items contain information for your students as a group that some folks may consider to be sensitive, especially the student assistance questions. So we're asking folks on your advisory council not to share the group data with the public. There would be nothing wrong if they did, because this is not individual student information, it's group information, but we just wanted to be respectful to your school in case you didn't want any of the group data to be shared. Okay, then on step two, we're asking folks to read each of the reports, each of the root cause reports, and then as they read them, they're asking themselves, what could be keeping our students from making choices that we identified as our priority goals? So when they find an answer, then we're asking them to jot that answer on a sticky note. So they would write, what's the priority goal? So let's say it's enrolling in dual credit courses. That was one that came up earlier today. Enrolling in dual credit courses, increasing the percentage of kids who do that is your priority goal. So then what's the report title? Well, I found that my clue on why kids aren't making that choice on the guidance report. So the report title is guidance. What is the possible root cause? And then I'd write it down, what I found that made me think, oh, here's why kids aren't choosing to enroll in dual credit, and then your initials. So when folks do that, the next part of the email shows them some examples. So we've put 3 sticky notes up there where people have written the priority goal, and then the report that they found the clue on for why kids aren't making that choice, and then what the clue is, and then their initials. So, and then step 3 is once they've got their sticky notes done, you would bring those, they'd bring all their sticky notes with them to your meeting. So we're having them really do their individual analysis of the data before they get to your meeting. One alternative that you could do, if you wanted to have 2 meetings instead of 1 meeting, you could actually have them get online, look at the reports, and create the sticky dots at the first meeting, and then come to the second meeting with those sticky notes. However, most schools like to do that as a pre-meeting email so that they don't end up with 2 meetings but only have 1 meeting in this month. The other thing that comes to mind is A lot of schools pass out the sticky notes at the previous meeting and say, you know, there's going to be an email coming and you're going to need sticky notes. So here's a bunch of blank ones. And they'll maybe give each member 30 or so sticky notes. If you've not done that, then the other thing you could do is just trust that people can come up with their own sticky notes, or you could, you know, drop them a packet of sticky notes in the mail just with a little note saying, please use these when you're doing the pre-meeting task that's described in the email that you'll be getting later. Okay, and then here's the bottom part of the email. So in this part, we have provided links that will take them directly to your school's data. So the guidance needs report, that's a default report that everybody gets. That's all about student knowledge. And then when you're setting up your email, I'll show you how to do that in a second, you can also choose to let your advisory council see your student assistance needs reports and the student opportunity reports. The student needs assistance reports came from the student survey, and the student opportunities report came from the counselor survey as your counselor was setting up your student surveys. And then the last set of reports is also default. It only corresponds with student knowledge, and that is a report that allows your advisory council members to drill down the data so they can start looking for guidance gaps. So let's kind of look at what would happen as people are working through this email at home. Okay, first of all, to set up the email, on the Process tab, you can see Step 3 for November says send the automated mailing to the Advisory Council. So when you click Enter there, you're going to get a screen that looks like this, and you'll see that the guidance needs questions will be a default in that email. Your people will automatically get a link to your guidance needs data. But then you're given the option of including the student assistance needs and the student opportunity needs. If you're using RSC for the Ask a Ramp Award or for the Indiana Gold Star Award, you really should check the student assistance needs and the student opportunity needs to allow your advisory council access to all of your group data. Remember, no individual student data, just group data, so that they can really come up with the best information, the best thinking about what's causing kids to not make the choices that are your priority goals. Then the other thing that we want to log is which one of your steering team members is completing this page so that you know later who was the one who said, okay, let's include the student assistance responses and the student opportunity responses in the email. That's going to the advisory council. Okay, so that's step 1. And then also in setting up the email, step 2 is we'd like you to check that all of your advisory council email addresses are correct. So if you just click Advisory Council in step 2, that'll open up the page where all the advisory council members' email addresses are listed, and then you can go in and edit those. The other thing that you'll want to do is if there's people that are no longer on your advisory council, you need to get them off so that they don't get this email. And if there's people that are missing, you need to add them so that they do get this email. So we're basically in step 2, we're cleaning up the advisory council roster if you need to. Then in step 3, you're just doing some assurances. You're clicking a box that says that you understand that all of your advisory council members are going to, with valid email addresses, are going to receive the message. And you can, I'll show you in a sec, but you can click on that where it says this message to see what the message is going to say. And then you're clicking that I understand that the email I'm sending will enable all advisory council members to view group data for the reports that are checked above. So we just want you to verify to us that you understand that group data is going to be shared with your advisory council members. And then you'll do the drop-down boxes, say who is sending that email, and then you click the bottom one, send the email to the advisory council, and when you do that, instantaneously they'll all receive an email. When the email comes into their inbox, it's going to say that it's from us, from the American Student Achievement Institute for RSC in the From box. But when they open the email, the first line will say to, to Main Street High School School Counseling Advisory Council members, and then it will say from, and in this case it would say from Brian Mitchell. So whoever's name appears in this box will go on the second line as the person that's sending the email to your advisory council. Okay, so that's the setup. And then let's just look at some examples of what your advisory council members might find in the data. So let's just pretend that one of your primary goals, priority goals, is to increase the percentage of 12th graders who apply for merit-based financial aid. You've looked at all of your goals, and your priority goal is to increase the percentage of 12th graders who apply for merit-based financial aid. So we're going to look at all of the root cause data to see, what could be getting in the way? Why aren't kids applying for merit-based financial aid more than they are? So one of the first things, reports that your advisory council might open is the guidance needs report. Remember, this is all based on what do your kids know. So as I look through the report, I'm looking through all of these questions. Is there anything in here that would keep kids from applying for merit-based aid? Do you know what students in your grade must do to get to college? Not really. Do you understand the impact that courses you take in high school on your grades will have on your future? Do you know how to find and apply for merit-based financial aid? And then we've defined what that means, scholarships based on a student's ability or accomplishments. And when I look at that data, I'm seeing that only 19% of my students have said yes, and that 81% either said they don't know where to find merit-based financial aid or they're not sure. So here's a big clue. Maybe the reason the kids aren't applying for merit-based financial aid is because they don't know how to find it. They don't know how to apply for it. So big clue there that would impact them, the guidance activities that you design later. So that's one report. Next report your advisory council members might open up is the counselor survey. Remember, this is a survey where the counselors said this is the percentage of our kids that have the opportunity to participate in this event or this activity. And then we also said who provides the activity. So as I'm reading down this, I see, that 100% of the students have the opportunity to take a learning styles assessment, to enroll in AP, to enroll in dual credit. But when I get down to obtain merit-based financial aid applications, the counselor is saying that 100% of the kids have that opportunity. So it's not a matter of the kids not knowing where to find the information, and then also they don't have even the ability to get the information. The ability is there. 100% of the kids, the counselor is saying 100% of the kids have the ability to get the financial aid. So the problem isn't an opportunity issue. The problem is really just a knowledge issue so far. So opportunities are fine. It's the knowledge that's the problem. Okay. So I also then open up the student assistance report, and I'm saying, is there any issue here that would, any social personal issue that would make it difficult for the kids to apply for merit-based financial aid? So I'm looking through this data, and I see, that there are some personal social issues. 18% of the kids in the school said that they had problems controlling their anger, which might make it difficult for them to remain in the classroom. 3% said they had felt that fighting or hitting was interfering with their ability to learn. 1% said that they had drug issues that were interfering with their ability to learn. And actually, I need to go back and adjust this. The drug and alcohol issue with a 1%, notice that the student group was only 2 students. Our online system does not report data unless the N is 10. So this should have said that the N was less than 10. So obviously when I made this slide, I just wasn't thinking when I made that 2 students. So But just know that it's not reported unless the N is less than 10. So, okay, is 10 or more. Okay, it's not reported unless the N is 10 or more. Okay. Okay, so but again, I'm looking in the social personal data to see is there anything that's going to be interfering with students' ability to apply for merit-based aid. Okay, and then, so now I might be thinking, okay, it's really just a knowledge issue. So I might be thinking then, well, which students don't have that knowledge? Is it all kids don't have the knowledge? And maybe I don't care so much if my 9th graders don't have that knowledge as long as the seniors have the knowledge. So when your advisory council members click on the guidance gap link, they're able to go in and drill down the data. So you can see here on these drill downs that, oops, let me come back here, that on the drill down data that I can drill down by grade level, I can drill down by gender, by race, ethnicity, lunch program status, 21st century scholars in Indiana, students who participate or don't participate in 21st century Indiana's 21st century scholar program, special ed or not special ed IEP status, if their parents have been to college or not. And one that I think is really interesting, you can also drill down by typical report card grades. So on the survey, we ask the students to report the grades that they typically get on the report cards. So in this case, you might be more concerned if students who say that they get A's and B's on the report card don't know where to find merit-based scholarship information versus kids who say that they get D's and F's on the report cards. So, okay, so let's say that we want to really check on what's going on with grade level. So this data, if I click on the grade level report, this is the kind of data that I'm going to get. So I'm looking at grade level data that's disaggregated by 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I see that only 4% of my 9th graders said that they know how to find and apply for merit-based aid. But you can see that that's growing each year. So in 12th grade, I have 47% know how to find and apply for merit-based aid. But again, you may think, well, that's not really enough because we have 70% of our kids that say that they're going on to post-secondary, but only 47% know that how to find and apply for merit-based aid. So you can drill down by grade level. You might also be wondering, how this is with my free and reduced lunch kids. We know that kids who qualify for free and reduced lunch are probably going to have more need for scholarships and financial aid for college. So we might want to check, do my free and reduced lunch kids understand where to find merit-based scholarships? And so as I look at this, really not much of a difference, 21% with paid lunch, 18% with free and reduced. So my problem isn't so much with one of these groups, it's really both groups are saying that they don't know how to find and apply for merit-based aid. And then I might want to check to see, where are we with grade level? If 100% of the kids who got A's and B's said that they knew where to find merit-based scholarship information, it might not be, so big of an issue if the kids that get D's and F's, don't know where to find merit-based scholarship. So, but when I check that, I see that, 23% of the kids that get A's and B's are saying that they know where to find and apply for merit-based aid. So again, my purpose of showing you this is to show you all the different data that your advisory council members can look at. And every time they find something that this like jumps out at them, like, oh, no wonder they're not applying for merit-based aid. They don't know where to find information about it. Then they would write that information on a sticky note and bring it to your meeting. Excuse me. Okay, so let's do a quick meeting 4 walkthrough. I'm going to switch out PowerPoints here and just kind of quickly go to this presentation and walk through this. Okay, so here's the PowerPoint, the agenda that you're covering with them. So basically, you're reviewing with your advisory council, you're going to do an introduction of root cause, then you're going to do an analysis of root causes with them, and then looking ahead to the next meeting. So review, I'm just going to fly through this because it's basically the same thing that we just went through. Okay, on this screen we're reminding people that there are products that we've developed already. So we already have developed our vision statement, our program goals, our resource expansion plan, and our priority goals. And then today we're working on root causes. So we're asking folks if they have questions. And then we're talking with them about today's topic is root causes. And here's the basic question. Why aren't students making sound choices for each of our priority goals? And then we're giving them a heads up after we know those root causes, then we'll plan activities to address the root causes. So on this screen, you would have typed in ahead of time your priority goals. You would have entered the student group that you have this goal for, the choice that you want them to make, what their baseline data is, and then what your target data is for a year from now. So you're kind of leading into the next activity. Things we want to know is, do our students have the knowledge they need? Do they have personal social issues? Do they have the opportunities? We're giving our advisory council just a reminder that what we did to see if kids had knowledge was we surveyed them, and we for lots of different survey questions, the kids said, yes, I know this, or no, I don't know this. Opportunities, that data came from the counselor questions, and then the personal or social issues came from the student survey with the student assistance needs report. Okay, so we know where the data is coming from, and now we're talking about the process we're going to use today to look at the data. So there's 3 steps involved: the individual data analysis, a small group consensus, and a large group consensus. And again, we're using the Delphi consensus building model. So step 1 is the individual data analysis, and we're telling folks, this is done at home. So we've already completed step 1. You've done that in your homes, and you've brought your sticky sheets with you. So we're reminding folks that on these sticky sheets, they've written the priority goal that the root cause is impacting, what report they found the clue on, and then what the clue was, and then finally their initials. So then in the small group discussion, what you're doing here is you're dividing people into groups of 3 or 4. I would not make them larger than that group, than that size. So groups of 3 or 4. And each of the groups you've given a poster to. It's the root cause analysis poster. And the poster has 3 columns on it. One says guidance, one says student assistance, and one says opportunities. So those columns correspond with the 3 reports that the folks found their clues on. And so basically what we're asking the advisory council to do, what we're asking each small group to do, is to put their sticky notes up on this poster and then to just discuss. For the first priority goal, in this case, the goal that's written on the screen is to increase the percentage of students who choose to enroll in AP classes. So we've got all the things that came off the guidance report that might be getting in the way, the student assistance report, and then the opportunities report that might be getting in the way. So then we're just going to talk about them. Here's all the things that might be keeping kids from enrolling in AP courses. And then finally, in that small group, we'd like them to come up with 1 to 3 root causes for each of their priority goals that they think should be the focus of your school counseling program next year. So what are the 1 to 3 main root causes for each priority goal? So one thing I neglected to say is that each small group is going to need one of these posters for each of your priority goals. So if you have 3 priority goals, there would be 3 of these posters, and each poster would have a separate priority goal written on it. Then when your small groups are putting their sticky notes up, remember at the top of the sticky note, it says, okay, it's this priority goal and what report it came from, and then they would just put it on the right poster in the right column, and then they'd go back and discuss each of the priority goals and what might be getting in the way, what might be the root causes. Okay, so after they've done that, and for each of the priority goals, the small group has 1 to 3 causes. Then we're going to ask them to share those causes with the large group. The other thing I wanted to talk about were these tips. One things that sometimes bogs down this discussion is folks start talking about, well, why does the situation exist? You know, why don't kids know about merit-based aid, or why, you know, why is this root cause exist? And I think for right now, we don't want to discuss the whys. That's going to come up in the next meeting. The thing that's more likely to come up is somebody will get an aha about how to fix the issue. Well, I know what we can do to get more information to kids who don't know about merit-based scholarships. We could do this. And we don't want that thought to slow down this meeting, but we also want to capture that thought. So what we're going to do is, if activities pop up, if the fixes pop up, we're going to have in the room one of these posters that's up on the wall. And if somebody comes up with a great idea and they want to remember it, they would just write the root cause, so you know that kids don't know about merit-based scholarships, and then they're going to write the possible activities. We'll bring this poster back in December to your next meeting. And so any activities that get parked here, we don't want to lose them because chances are they're really good ideas. So we'll park them on this possible activities parking lot, and then we'll incorporate those activities into next month's discussion. Okay, so after the small group discussions, then we're going to large group consensus. So what you'll say is we're going to talk about one priority goal at a time. So let's start with the one on to increase the percentage of kids who enroll in dual credit courses. So you're inviting each small group to share one of their root causes, and then you'll go on to the next small group, and then on to the next small group. So to kind of keep people on task, I suggest that you can suggest to them that they start with, we believe one root cause for this priority goal might be that, and then they would say what they believe the root cause is. So, and we're talking about one priority goal at a time. So we're going to talk solely about your first priority goal, do this whole activity, and then we'll come back and then talk about another priority goal. So a couple of notes that just speed this along. We're asking each small group to only share one concern at a time, to limit their statement to one sentence. A lot of times people want to just kind of enter into, you know, a 15-minute talk about this possible root cause, and we want to keep these really short so we can get everybody's ideas up. And then also we're asking people, you know, not to include activities at this time that have a cool activity, put it up on the parking lot, and we'll grab it for next month. Okay, so the small groups are reporting out. Then each participant has in front of them one of these root cause brainstorm sheets for each of your priority goals. So again, if you have 3 priority goals, they're going to get 3 of these, and you would have pre-written at the top of it where it says priority goal, you would have written, you know, what the priority goal is, so that they have 3 different ones with 3 different priority goals listed at the top. Then, as the small groups are reporting out their possible root causes, people at their seats are writing them down. So the first person says, well, you know, we believe that one of the reasons that kids aren't enrolling in or aren't submitting merit-based applications is because they don't understand what merit-based applications are, and so that would be written down as number 1. And then the next person, you know, gives their thought for why they think that choice isn't being made, and then that's going to be written down as number 2. So each person's writing this down at their seats, and then somebody from your steering team is writing the same things with the same numbers, number 1, number 2, number 3, on an Instagraph. Okay, so so people are writing this down. You've got an Instagraph for this specific priority goal, and you're writing the same thoughts down on the Instagraph. So one other thing we want to do before we get to the Instagraph is, if this is a continuing priority goal, we want to add any root causes that you were working on for the past 3 years or since the last time you did this. So you're just going to add those onto the list if this is a continuing priority goal. Okay, then we're going to ask everybody at their seats to check a third of all the possible root causes on the paper that they have in front of them. So everybody's going down, they're checking the third that they think are the biggest impacts on your priority goal. Okay, and then we're going to the instagraph. Somebody on your steering team has written down the possible root causes as they were presented by each of the small groups. And then everybody's just coming up and entering on the third of the things that they're voting for. And then those bar graphs will form this time across the page. Okay, so once let me go back, once you've got the instagraph done, then you can kind of, talk out, which of these root causes do we want to consider as we design our activities next month. And in this one, it's, pretty clear that you've got 2 that are people thought were more important than the others to address. So you might ask people, can we settle on those 2? And just, I just want to make sure that this is all kind of in place. We're also, there's a separate instagraph for each of your priority goals. So again, if you have 3 priority goals, you're going to have 3 instagraphs. And there'd be, in that blank where it says priority goal, each instagraph would have a different priority goal listed there. Okay, so if you have more than 1 priority goal, then you're going to do this process more than 1 time. So at the end of this instagraph, then we're asking, can people live with the root causes as the one-hour school counseling program will address? And can you publicly support these root causes as the one-hour school counseling program will address? So we're doing that consensus check. So we're going to go all through that for your first priority goal. Then if you have a second priority goal, we're going to go back to the to the large group consensus again. And this time when people report out, they're going to be reporting on the root causes for your second priority goal. And then you'll go through those those steps again. Excuse me. Okay, and then finally, looking ahead, we are telling folks that at meeting 5, you'll identify activities that will address the root causes and that you'll implement next year. So the homework for this time is we're asking your advisory councils to think about activities that not only school counselors could do, but other educators and parents and community organizations that everybody could do to address those root causes. Okay, that's it. Let me pause here and see what questions everybody has. Okay, I'm looking for hands. No hands, no questions. Okay, so basically this activity there's a pre-activity where we're asking your advisory councils to individually look at the data. Then we're coming to the meeting, and for 1 priority goal at a time, we're having the small groups come up with their suggestions on what the root causes are, and then we're having the large group do an instagraph to identify the key root causes for each of your priority goals. Okay, then, so that's the walkthrough. Let's look at this month's tasks and the rubric. So basically, the only thing we're coming up with this month is the root causes. So the rubric items are that 1 or more root causes exist for each priority goal, and then that the root cause type has been indicated. In other words, if it's a guidance root cause, kids don't have knowledge, or if it's a student assistance root cause, there's a personal or social issue that's interfering with kids making a good choice, or it's an opportunity root cause. And when you put your root causes in, you're asked to say that, so that should be pretty, just be there. And then also the minutes. Okay, so then let's look at the online system real quickly. Okay, so I'm logged in as Demo School, And just wanted to show you in the manual, and if I scroll down here to root cause analysis, here is, oops, I forgot to do one thing that I'm always warning people not to do. I need to switch to make sure I'm looking at the renewal manual. And I'll scroll down. Here's the root cause update. And here's your handouts for your meeting. And then here's the tools. So here's your root cause analysis poster, the parking lot poster, and then the Instagraph. There's a pretty good set of facilitator notes for this activity. So in addition to watching this webcast, I would strongly recommend that you read the facilitator notes that kind of walks you through this meeting as well. Okay, so that's the manual, and then on the process tab, let's look at that real quickly. Whoops, I'm going to make sure I'm on the renewal process tab, and going down to root causes. And today's webcast will appear right here, and then the steps are to update your advisory council email addresses. If you click this enter, that'll take you right to the page to do that. Then send the automated mailing to the advisory council. I'll click on that and show you what that looks like. So here's the email, and then you're just going to click which reports you want to be included in the email, and then down at the bottom you're clicking the assurances, and we also give you a link so that you can see what the email is going to look like, and it just gives it to you as a pop-up screen so you can look through and see exactly what that email is going to look like before you send it. And then finally, when everything's set, you're ready to go, just click send this email to the advisory council, and then everybody will get it immediately. We suggest you do that at least 2 weeks before your advisory council meeting so that your members have ample time to look at that data at home and create their sticky notes. Okay, I'm going to go back to the process tab and go back to root causes. So that's the email. Conduct advisory council meeting 4. That will take you to the manual. And then on entering your root causes, on the enter, you would, on this page, your priority goals are going to be listed there. So all you need to do is pick the priority goal that you're entering the root cause for, and then click add a root cause. And the root cause might be, in this case, students do not know where to find merit-based scholarship information. Okay, and then what type of root cause is this? This is a knowledge issue, so it's student guidance, and then save. And you can see that now that root cause appears here, I can add another root cause for this priority goal if I want to. I can edit it, the one that I've already put in, or I can delete the one that I've already put in. So, okay, so that's how you enter your root causes. Pretty simple. Okay, and I'll go back to the process page and click on renewal. And then the only other steps are to enter your minutes and then to always review the rubric items just to make sure that you've got everything in place that the reviewers for RAMP, ASPA RAMP, and for Indiana Gold Star are going to be looking for. So that is it. So let me go back and see if anybody else has questions, and if not, that will complete this webinar. So I'm looking for hands up or any questions coming in. Give you a minute to type those in. Again, to me, this is maybe my favorite meeting, just because of all the data. I think it's so interesting to see why kids aren't making the choices we want them to make. This will help to, all the choices that we've put into this. Why don't kids turn in their homework? Why don't they? There's just all kinds of information in here. And then also to drill down that data to see, well, exactly who doesn't know this. Is it my 9th graders? Is it my 12th graders? Is it my Hispanic students? If you have a population or a community that's really focused on the achievement of Hispanic students or of African American males, it's just fascinating to go in and see which choices those kids are making and which choices they're not making. Once we've discovered a guidance gap, then when we get to activities, we can design the activities so that they engage the gap group at a higher level. And in your root causes, you might say, you can say, that, one of the root causes is that third graders don't know this, or my free and reduced student lunch students aren't aware of that. So you can target a student group in your root cause data as well. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any signs up, so we'll go ahead and close this webinar, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody next month with your root causes identified. And then finally next month we'll talk about the activities that you'll do. And the idea again is that those activities are going to address your root causes. Once you've addressed those root causes, kids will start making better choices. And then once the kids are making better choices, the achievement will go up. So very good, and thank you so much for participating in this webinar. And as always, please don't forget that you make a difference in the lives of your students.